Welcome back to the next episode of the MyOhMy Events podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to spend a few minutes with you. And I would love to talk to you today about the secrets of hybrid events. In the last episode, we talked through what hybrid events are, what the industry is looking like regarding hybrid events. So if you've not listened, pause. Go back and have a listen. And for that matter, if you haven't listened to the first 6 episodes, which are our 6-step method to the perfect event, please do go back and listen to them. For now, I would love to walk you through secrets of hybrid events. Hybrid events could just be you stood at the front of the room with 20 people in the room streaming with your iPhone to an online audience. Does the job. It means you get to speak to the people in the room, and it means you get to speak to the 100, 200,000 people that are streaming. However, people learn differently, so your audiences need more, your audiences expect more, and quite frankly, your audience deserves more. They deserve better. Any old person, and in fact, every old person, is doing the chalk and talk. The standing at the front of the room with a slide deck, speaking to the audience and streaming it. That's not how you make an impact. So if you really want to level up your hybrid events, listen in. I'm going to whiz through some hints and tips that will really start to set you apart in your industry. So we always talk about making your events immersive and interactive. So first off, when you're designing what you're going to talk about for your event, I want you to really concentrate on when you're going to check in with the online audience. So questions from the room. Hi, have I got any questions from the online audience? Whether that's you check in with the tablet that's by your hand and actually read the chat that's coming in from your online audience, or whether you've got an extra pair of hands, which I highly recommend, who is monitoring that chat for you and can feed you some of the question themes and perhaps even some of the questions directly. Make sure that you're speaking with and to your online audience, as well as the people that are in front of you in the room. That's how you get immersive and interactive. Make sure that you're thinking about how else can I cater for the different learning needs. You can stand and talk at the front. You can run a set of slide deck. Make sure you have someone on production showing those slides to the people online. You need multiple camera angles and some production to shift between those cameras to keep the online audience engaged. We have an attention span of about 90 seconds. If the screen isn't changing and moving every 90 seconds, we zone out and stop listening. Our eyes stop working, our ears stop working, and we stop taking stuff in. It's why as a speaker, you're told to move around the stage, to slowly move from side to side. It keeps things visually interesting, so keeps our very tiny brains engaged. Think about playing music and playing videos for the in-room people, but also have your production cue that up and play it to the online space as well. It can be really crisp and really clear and really easy to do, and a really easy way to add a different dynamic to level up your events. Are you sending out goodie packs, or are you giving people in the room goodie packs, whether that's notebooks or pens or resources to use, or books to read and take away with them? Have you thought about sending those packs to your online audiences? Now, if you've got 1,000 people, it might not be practical, but what about flipping that goodie pack to an online resource so that everybody that buys an online ticket is getting the same good stuff, the same extra resources that the in-person people are getting too? Hell, throw in a packet of nuts and some snacks or a drink. Make it in an Instagram-worthy goodie bag and really optimize the marketing potential that a good goodie pack has. Everyone loves a goodie bag, so make it count and make it pack a punch. We've touched a little bit on production, but I really advocate, if you're going to use hybrid events as your flagship event or as an event that really sets you apart, this is how you're going to sell your product to your people, or this is how you're going to bring thought leaders of the industry together, think about investing in some production. Now, it doesn't have to cost the earth. However, you will need to put some budget aside for it. If you haven't got all the cameras and equipment, either the production team will bring it, or you can hire it. Reasonably straightforward to hire it, and for the day or for the 2 days, whichever it is. Get yourself some production and people that know how to switch cameras, how to feed in some really nice virtual background to really make your online feed look sharp, look exceptional. And you can do this through Zoom. You don't have to pay a fortune for really expensive online platforms. Yes, you can get platforms like Hopin or On24 or Feedloop will all do online conferences for you and live feeds. However, you don't necessarily have to invest in licenses for those. You can do it via Zoom, and a good production team will be able to do that for you. They'll also be able to weave in your slide deck. So the people on the screen are not just looking at a pixelated slide behind you on the stage. They are actually looking at either you picture in picture, they are looking at you mixed with your slide, or a mixture of the two, but they can see it clearly, and they can get the information from it. There's nothing worse than grainy slides when you're referring to, look behind me on the slide at this piece of data, and the online people can't see it. It goes right back to them peering in the window, them being second-class citizens or second-class ticket holders, and watching through the window and not really getting the same value as your in-room people. So make sure your production is working and is sharp. Invest in good quality audio. You need to be wearing a lapel mic. So get yourself a microphone that hooks up to your live feed so your audio is super crisp and super clear. And if you have other speakers in the room, make sure their mic's up too. Make sure you have a camera trained on them so that your production can switch between angles easily. You can even have people dialing into the meeting, and you can broadcast that to the people in the room and mix that in with your live feed so the people online get to see the virtual speaker too. Production can be complicated, but it doesn't have to be difficult. Have a look around, see what companies are doing production and what equipment they have to start out with. As I said, it doesn't have to cost the earth, but it will make a massive difference to the work that you're doing. The fact that they can share resources, they can share ticker, they can share social media hashtags to the people online means that they start to watch a highly produced TV program that they can interact with, as well as watching some excellent quality speakers and getting some really valuable information as well. Think about how you make your online people and your face-to-face people collaborate. What do I mean by that? We've always talked about immersive and interactive. It's one of our key features. And if you're breaking your room up into small groups to do some work, to mastermind together, to have a conversation, think about giving every group a laptop, opening up the online groups, splitting them into breakout rooms and saying, okay, so you 4 people in the face-to-face space, here's your laptop, and there are 3 people in the online space for you to work with as well. So you've suddenly got a group of 7 all working together. Some are online, some are face-to-face, and they can all be masterminding together. They all get to network in a way that they wouldn't have previously met. This adds an extra dimension. It means you're really pulling the online people into the room with you. Now, there's loads of tools that you can use to weave in collaborative working in your group work. So imagine in days gone by, your group would be sitting around a table with a big fat marker pen and some flip chart paper. Remember those days? They feel like a distant memory. There are virtual ways of doing that now. One of my top tips is to create some Jamboards. Google offers a free collaborative working platform called Jamboard. It means that everybody that's logged into Jamboard can be working on the same document at the same time, sharing ideas, sticking post-it notes on it, sharing images, sharing sounds, sharing thoughts. And what you effectively get at the end of it is a flip chart paper that virtual people or on face-to-face people can present back to the group. You can also go ahead and PDF that and it's collateral for the whole of the session afterwards. But it means that people can work together, record ideas and share ideas, and everybody can see it all at the same time. You've also got great platforms like Mentimeter, so you can get people involved in sharing their thoughts, get involved in polls, get involved in expressing their opinion in the face-to-face space and online. And I also really advocate a platform called Slido. So people can ask questions, and it's super easy to have the Slido app open on your iPad while you're presenting, and you can see the questions there as well. And if you grab your production person or your event manager, they potentially can weed out those questions for common themes. So when you glance at your iPad, you might have the top 5 questions that really collect together all the questions that have been coming in from online. So you can have a moderator to those. Really helpful. And it helps people feel heard. We know that people love to be heard, and they know that people love to be validated. We get people phoning in all the time to their favourite radio show. Hey, can you give my mum a shout out? It's her 70th birthday. And how excited and how much of a kick people get when they hear their request read out or their comment and shout out read out on the radio. It's exactly the same in the event space. Hey, I've got a question here from Lorna from Philadelphia. That person is suddenly going to feel like, yeah, I'm in it. That was me. I asked that question. And it really makes people feel valued, really makes people feel heard. And that's what you want in your hybrid events. Making your hybrid events immersive is really key to high-level user experience. We go back to the fundamentals and make the event easy to access. We make sure that we've got somebody to help if something should go wrong and people can't access it, so make it as smooth as possible. But what's going to set you apart is the in-meeting experience. How can they get involved? How can they get involved in the conversation? How can they get involved in the conversation that's happening in the room with you, the speaker, and with all the other delegates as well? Think about that in the design phase, and you're going to have a stellar hybrid event that people will be talking about for ages and ages. Not only the amazing content and the value of the content that you've given them, but the incredible experience that they've had. That's how you become a market leader in hybrid events. I'll leave it there for now. There are my top tips for today. If you need anything else, please do reach out. You can reach me at lorna@myohmyevents.com. You can leave a comment below and I will definitely answer you back. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a comment either on iTunes, hit subscribe and help other people find this podcast. Feel free to share it if you know someone that needs a gentle nudge into leveling up their hybrid events. Until next time, it's been a pleasure. Take care.